Welcome to Your Biz, Your Rules, the podcast for business-minded go-getters hosted by me, your favourite brain and biz coach, Daire Paddy. This is the spot for those of you ready to blend heart and head, woo and do, income and impact, change and chill, and so much more. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. Welcome to episode 225 of Your Biz, Your Rules. In this episode, I'm taking you behind the curtain with me and sharing an honest look at what business has been like for me over the past few months and exactly where I feel like I've gone wrong. So grab yourself a cuppa, keep listening and enjoy. So I'm really quite nervous talking about this topic. It's not something that I think I see a lot of people address. Like, you often see people getting vulnerable and talking about struggles that they've had or perceived failures that they've experienced after the fact. So once somebody has found the solution, once somebody has remedied the situation, then they will go on and tell us their difficult story. That is not what I'm doing today, because I'll be honest, I haven't found the solution. I haven't found the magic pill to fix my life, to fix my business. But that doesn't mean that this conversation isn't worth having. I want to normalize the human experience in business, because do you know what? Everyone actually has to deal with that. Everyone. And in coaching, we learn that all generalizations are false, but this is the exception. So I've been experiencing a dark mood for quite a while. That's how I would describe it. Some might say it's like low-level depression. I'm just wary of using that term because I don't know. I feel like what I have been going through isn't as bad as depression can manifest for a lot of people. So I don't necessarily want to claim that that is, what's been going on for me. But I have been just feeling down. I've been feeling low. I've been feeling flat. And it's been quite a while now. It's probably been 7 or 8 months that I've been feeling this way. And even though I have been still showing up for my business, I've still been serving my clients and I've been delighting my clients, I haven't been my usual self, and I'm very aware of this. A lot of the people in my life probably haven't noticed. Like, my clients won't have noticed, most of my friends haven't noticed. I don't think even Tom's noticed, and he lives with me. But that's not necessarily because they're not observant. That's because I am very good at hiding what I'm going through. And I think that a lot of us are. We put so much into taking care of other people as coaches, as healers, as service providers, that we don't necessarily take the time or take the space to fully express what is going on for us. And I don't think that necessarily does us any good, if I'm being honest. So that's another part of why I want to talk about this today. So like I said, I've been feeling low, I've been feeling flat, I've been feeling less inspired. That doesn't mean that I haven't been productive, but I just haven't had that spark that I usually have. And that has absolutely had a very tangible impact on my business. Now, I'm sure that I could trace these feelings back in time, not necessarily because I went through anything like quote unquote terrible during the pandemonium, but there were a lot of people in my life freaking out about it. And so that felt like 18 months of me really having to hold space for the people in my life, take care of them emotionally, sometimes physically, and ignore my needs. And on top of that, I didn't necessarily have the time to myself that I usually need in order to really be thriving. And while, like I said, it's a very privileged position. I didn't get ill. I didn't lose anybody. I didn't have the worst that could happen to me. But I think the things that were happening, the struggles that I was having, I ignored them and I pushed them down. And over time, they've sort of compounded and built on each other to create this state of just feeling low, feeling not my best. And I know that something that happens for me also is when I start feeling low, when I start feeling uninspired, one of my coping mechanisms is to make investments. So I will think that investing in a coach, investing in a program, investing in some support is going to fix things for me. And so that's what I did during that time. So during that time when people were locked down, when a lot of people were struggling to make ends meet, I made some poor choices in terms of investments. I invested a lot of money in a coaching program that not only didn't work, but actually hurt me and my business. Like, it actually caused a negative impact, just not just a neutral one. And I'm still probably recovering from that. So on top of all of the, like, dealing with being around humans way more than I usually was, and ignoring all of my own feelings and fears about the pandemonium, and dealing with the financial implications of making big investments, and also the emotional and energetic implications of making investments that don't pay off. It was just festering and festering and festering, and I didn't deal with it. I kept ignoring it. I kept pushing all of these things down, and they just kept it, like, they had, it was like interest. It was like interest in a bank account. Like, every day there was just, like, I don't know, 0.5% more there, weighing me down and weighing me down and weighing me down. And then about, I would say, October last year is where I feel like I just hit the rock bottom, and that has felt sustained up until very, very, very recently. I've really been struggling to get myself out of that hole. It's felt like a very vicious cycle. And like I said, I try to distract myself with training. I try to distract myself with new projects. And honestly, like, it just made it worse. It just made it worse. And I only realized how bad things had got when I took a week off from my birthday earlier this month. And I had this full week to do nothing, to just think, to reflect. And I hadn't really been in a position to just think about things for quite a while, because obviously, on top of the just feeling low and feeling uninspired and feeling down and feeling sad, in April, at the beginning of April, I finally came down with COVID. And I actually developed long COVID, and I didn't get over it for a whole month where I was barely able to work, barely able to function. It was a hard time. And then as soon as my symptoms dissipated, I injured my ankle. And so I couldn't physically move around. And so I had all of the frustration and the pain going with that as well, just adding to all of this. And I hadn't allowed myself to just be and to just think and to just do the things that I would usually do to make myself feel better. I've noticed another one of my patterns is that when I start feeling down, not only do I distract myself with training and busy work and new projects, but I also isolate myself. I isolate myself from my loved ones who I know in real life. I isolate myself from my business friends who are usually like the lifeblood of my sanity. I also isolate myself from the supportive habits and practices that keep the wheels turning. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen me talk about things like my journaling practice and my daily glow ups and all different rituals that I used to be so committed to in my life and in my business. But for a good long while, I've let them go. But I've told myself that I'm still doing them by doing things like writing lists in my journal every morning. So getting up and writing lists of all of the things that I need to think about, all the things I need to work on. That's not really like journaling for your mental health, for your emotional well-being, is it? Like that, I don't think that really counts. And doing things like investing in a breathwork membership so that I have regular breathwork workshops that I can attend and replays that I can work through, because breathwork is a tool that really does make an impact for me. And then only really going to those sessions when I already feel good. And that's not the kind of person that I want to be. I don't want to be the kind of person who ignores all of the relatively easy things that could make me feel better, that could make me do better, that could make me show up better. So about a week ago now, I was doing some thinking, I was doing some journaling, and I realised that I needed to just shake things up. I needed to draw a line in the sand and make a change. So I recommitted to doing my daily glow up ritual. And I call it my daily glow up because morning routine sounds blur and boring. And also because my morning rituals, then they're not a routine, they're not always the same. Like I do have a framework that I kind of follow, but every day it does look and feel very, very different. But anyway, I decided 7 days ago that I was going to recommit to doing that every day. And to support me with that intention, I actually went to my Google Calendar and blocked off all of the mornings. So until 12 o'clock, my calendar is blocked out. There will be no calls getting booked in, there will be no busy work getting done. That is time to just focus on me and my well-being. And like, let me just be clear, I'm not always going to need that much time, but because I have been going through it recently, I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of space to give myself exactly what I need. And honestly, I've been doing it for 7 days, and have I ever needed all of that time? No. But knowing that I have that freedom and that space set aside in my calendar has meant that I do actually intentionally take the time that I need, which has been a game changer already. I'm feeling so much better. In fact, after one day of doing this, brilliant idea dropped in for me, and I've run with it and nearly seen it through to completion, and that's just in 7 days. And so I can promise you, I can guarantee to you that making these tweaks, making these little commitments to yourself does have a very tangible impact on your business. Just like ignoring what you need and ignoring what you know works has an impact on your business. Like for me, since October, like I said, it's been the worst time in my business financially that I've ever experienced. And like it is embarrassing to say so. Like, it's not fun admitting that publicly, but that's the reality. And I know that a huge piece of that is because of how I've been feeling. It's not because of my business tactics. It's not because I don't know how to market myself. It's not any of the surface level business building things that have been causing a problem. It's the me stuff. It's my energy. It's my mood. It's my motivation. And only I can actually fix those things. No new framework, no new tool, no new piece of software, no new tutorial is going to fix that stuff for me. That's just the reality. That is the reality. So like I said, I've committed to doing my daily glow up ritual properly, not just paying it lip service, doing it properly every single day. I'm also vlogging the process, so I've decided to vlog myself doing it for 30 days, just so people can see the evolution of my mood. So I wrote down all of the things that I was feeling and experiencing before I started, and then I'm like filming the actual rituals themselves, and then at increments. So every week I'm checking in and looking at the differences in how I feel, in what I'm doing, and all of that stuff. And what's interesting is that I filmed that, because I said I'd been doing it for 7 days, I filmed the first week's check-in today, and then looked at the kickoff clip that I filmed, and even my face looks different. Like, I look like I'm actually glowing, whereas in that first clip I looked grayer. I looked like, just, I don't know, my skin looked less perky, it looked less alive. I think it's so interesting that you can see those visible differences in just 7 days. My eyes are sparkling again. I'm actually smiling. It's wild. So, like I said, commitment to creating a change, commitment to how you're creating that change. So for me, it was the daily glow up ritual, and barricading that time in my calendar was also a big one for me, because otherwise I know I would always have in the back of my mind, oh, but I need to do this. Oh, but I've got that appointment. Oh, but this. Oh, but that. And it stops you from really being able to give yourself that time. Because here's the thing, I know that when I feel my best, not even when I feel my best, when I feel moderately okay, moderately stable, I just show up differently in my business. I have better ideas. I see things through more efficiently. I am more confident. I'm more magnetic. I'm more focused. I'm all of these things that allow me to start creating the business results that I want to be celebrating in my business. So I want to encourage you to just think about what it is that makes you feel those things. What is it that makes you feel focused and creative and unstoppable? What is it that makes you feel grounded and excited and on it? And if you have answers to those questions, go and take action on them. Because like I said, it's not necessarily about learning a new marketing technique or implementing a new business model. Sometimes the issue is purely energy management and taking care of the human behind your business. So if you can relate to that, I want you to join me in recommitting to the things that make you feel good. And this can look very, very different for all of us. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to just be really honest about how I failed my own business, because I feel like I have. I feel like I've let myself down. I know what works for me, and I know what works in general in business, and I haven't been prioritizing those things. I've been going through the motions. I've been ignoring what I know to be true. I haven't been embodying the work that I assign to my clients, and that is changing. In fact, it already has changed. And yeah, I may only be a week into getting myself back on track, but you know, that's a week further in than I was 7 days ago. So I'm still celebrating that. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Your Biz, Your Rules. I know that we all like to listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles or books or posts on Facebook and not really do anything with that information. So I want to challenge you right now. I want to challenge you to take something from this episode, anything, and use it to spark action. Use it to activate some kind of change in the way you work and the way you live. Do yourself this service today and tell me all about it on Instagram. Hop over, shoot me a DM or share an Instagram story showcasing what action you are taking thanks to this episode. And of course, do all of the usual things. Subscribe, leave a review, let me know how much you love the show, and I will be back with you next week.